So I'm just going to start the meetings like that so we can be good.
We're already live streaming, my friend.
Are you recording this?
What's up, guys, and welcome to the Quick Diz Takes podcast, episode 74, a live edition. I'm your host, Tim LeBeau, here alongside with Mr. John Castano.
Hi.
Mrs. Sarah Castano.
Hey, howdy, hey.
And Mr. Stephen Lanzi.
Hello.
Here for his first trip down live YouTube lane. If you're new to the show, welcome. Please like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends, all that good stuff. As I mentioned on the news this past week, we will be live from now on. So here we are, 74th episode, first live episode. And we were talking about topics. And we really couldn't come up with like ideas. Don't mind that creepy lady. Ideas for a specific topic. And so we had mentioned, just it's the 50th anniversary, right? So 50 years of Walt Disney World that all of us have not been, obviously alive to see, but I got to thinking, what would it be like, or what could we share as far as our kind of favorite experiences with Disney, and what did we think about different CEOs and almost like the different time periods and just things like that, because we had been talking about kind of before and afters on like the World Showcase and the Backlot Tour versus what we have now. So it kind of stays along those lines. So I figured we would do that. Now, we're just talking off air about how ridiculously insane the lines were to get merchandise at the parks this weekend. Johnny had sent me wait times. What was like the general wait times on some of those rides you were sending me, Johnny? They're like, was there?
It was really ridiculous. Like Space Mountain was 15 minutes. I don't think everything was like 15, 20 minutes or below at Magic Kingdom, except I think Seven Dwarfs was like 40 or 50, but everything was. And then at like 2:00, they said no more park hopping to the Magic Kingdom. And it was still, everybody's just waiting in line to get popcorn buckets, or I think it was an hour-long wait to get into the Emporium. Like the Emporium line was longer than any ride. So, and then forget like the rest of the parks. I think even Rise of Resistance was like a half-hour wait most of the day. So
at one point I'm in, because I was checking in too, like while I had prep and on lunch, and I saw Rise of the Resistance with a standby queue of 35 minutes, and Jungle Cruise had 50.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was, unless you were down there and didn't care about the 50th at Magic Kingdom that day, you had a run of the other three parks, no problem.
Or if you just wanted to get into Magic Kingdom and didn't care about merch.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I would have been like, looking at the people on Main Street, like, you guys enjoy that.
Yeah, this is an 18-month thing. I'll come back next year and get all this merchandise that they're just gonna stock back up on. I don't need it the first day.
I honestly don't popcorn and watch the show.
Because I was telling Sarah,
don't care that much about it.
Yeah, I was telling Sarah the only thing like if I was there, I would have liked that specific like park map program you got for that day. But like, I don't care about tumblers or.
And someone is currently selling
shirts.
one. What did you say on eBay for? It's like $1,500.
No, it was $150 for the 50th park map or whatever it was.
Oh my God. Where can I get that? Send me the link.
Oh, it might be already gone.
Let me get my credit card.
Highest bidder. It's on eBay, Tim.
It's nuts.
And
someone's going to buy it.
See, the funny thing that I saw too, it was like $150. And then on top of that, they had the nerve to charge like $9 for shipping. You want $150 for something you got for free, and you're still going to charge for shipping? You can't include the shipping.
Someone's going to buy it. That's the sad part about it.
Yep.
Let me look and see.
So I was looking, right? And I guess it's safe to say I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I'm just going to go. It's safe to say that we're all kind of like Eisner people, right? For the most part, like in we're all generally in the same age group. And I'm looking through all these. Yeah.
Sure.
So so I'm going to go through the list. We had, obviously, after Walt died, we had Roy, and then we had Don Tatum, and then we had Card Walker, Ron Miller, Michael Iger, and now Rob Pajak. Personal opinions on who the best CEO has been since Walt has left the company, specifically for the parks mainly.
I mean, I'm a fan of Eisner. I think we've talked about a little bit here and there throughout different shows about just kind of the experience was there, the magic was there. I'm not saying the magic isn't there now. I'm just saying, maybe because now I'm an adult and I see all the price tags attached to the magic and I'm earning that money for, like, maybe that's the difference too. But I just kind of felt like it truly was a magical place. Like, you literally, it was a whole other, not dimension, but like the goal of making you feel like nothing else mattered in the outside world, that goal was accomplished, regardless of which park you were in.
I think Eisner is probably my favorite, but he definitely took us down. I guess in any company, right? Once it's not your brainchild anymore, it's not your child, next guy comes in, or a guy after, where it's an outsider, and now the shareholders and the bottom line become the thing, you're always going to lose a little bit of the original thoughts and ideas that were meant to be there. So Eisner, you could argue, started the snowball to where we are now in far as making money.
Mm-hmm.
But I will contest to the death that the one thing I liked about Eisner, though, is that happened, but he put ideas there. So he was like, all right, we're going to get a little more money. We're going to get this. Don't get me wrong. He was there for the money, but what he did to the parks was enjoyable. Like, he didn't go all IP. There were still things. He still kind of had like a little nod to Walt when he did things. You know what I mean? Like, we're still going to do certain things the way Walt would do them. Just charge a little more money, maybe. But, he wasn't out buying every single thing he could get his hands on, although he did buy ABC. But yeah. But is Bob Chapek the worst CEO? In just 1 year, is Bob Chapek already so? Roy Disney, right? I kind of attribute his reign as CEO is kind of like, like how people are married and like the husband will die and then the wife maybe will live one more year, and you almost swear she just kind of willed herself out of it because she just didn't want to be there with his partner anymore. I almost feel like Roy was like, I'm going to live long enough to make sure Walt Disney World gets built, and then I am done. And then literally built it, opened it in October, and died in December. And so for that, we thank him. But and Card Walker, I know a lot of people probably not crazy knowledgeable about this. I did a little reading up on him before I started the show. Card Walker was responsible for Epcot. So did we give, does he get a little applause there for that?
I'm a fan.
And then of course there's Ron Miller, who was Walt's son-in-law, who was there for just 1 year before they brought Michael Eisner in. So Ron Miller did give us Tron. If that excites anybody.
No.
Johnny.
I've never watched Tron, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. Anyway, all right. So just general questions. Let's start with what's your favorite thing a Disney park has done in the last 50 years obviously you haven't been alive for all of it, but like, what's just the best change you think it made at any point in time that you can remember in your life?
A change or like an event type thing?
Event, change, anything like your favorite memory, whatever it is.
Millennium Celebration. I mean, I've talked about it before. Tapestry of Nations, the parades, all of that. Like, I still have that soundtrack on in my on my iPod. I have the CD in my car. I think it's in my car, but like I can close my eyes, listen to that soundtrack, and I can envision the puppeteering, the puppets that they came up with, the way that they brought them to life through that Tapestry of Nations parade, paired with illuminations. I mean, it's the whole, I mean, and plus it's in my favorite part too, so that helps. But that whole celebration, you know, for Y2K, that is probably one of, I really was like, this is my happy place. These parks, this experience, this like kind of cultural, that's where I think it really kind of hit for me.
All right. Steven, you're more newer to the parks. We talked about this.
Yeah. So I mean, I
your
never
first visit, like what hit you on your first visit the most? I guess.
First visit was
Yeah.
kind of everything. You know, it's very, you got fireworks, and it really is the creativity. Like on Main Street, they had a barbershop quartet. You know, they had like barbershop quartet dressed marching band, you know, whatever what. So it's like just a creativity that somebody in some meeting, you know, when they're thinking about ideas, some guys, you know, or woman raised their hand and said, I got an idea. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a marching band dressed like barbershop quartets, and we're just gonna have them go down Main Street at random times and put on a little concert. And everyone in the room just went, I like it. This is this is why we're a part of Disney. So for me, it was the creativity. I can't speak to each individual, you know, CEO or, you know, head of Disney. I agree with what was said a lot about Eisner. I think one of the best things they did, just because I come from, you know, think about a certain perspective, was the value resorts. I know that sounds completely separate from, you know, from the parks, but what that did was allowed more families who are on a tighter budget to be able to maybe afford their Disney vacation. You know, it kind of put it in more families' wheelhouses financially. So although rides, you know, we can discuss rides, which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones should leave, and I'll leave my typical comment alone on that one. But just the idea of allowing more families to finally kind of go, I think was one of the better steps forward for Disney, because I think that's what Walt truly wanted. He wanted everyone to have access to this park. And it's getting to a point where not everyone does.
Agreed. Johnny, what about you? Something maybe that's not there anymore you miss? Or something that's there that you're just glad it's there now? What do you love, Johnny?
Well, I love pirates. That's
Well,
my thing.
Well, that's from
I mean-
Disneyland. There you go. Let's pose this question to you.
Well,
What
I'm
origin-
just okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
No,
go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, it was just that when I was a little kid and you always saw the thing, it always goes back to the going under the bridge with the pirate with the foot. You see it on TV, and then all of a sudden you're there.
Love
It's like,
that.
wow,
Love it.
that thing's there. I don't know that always, I don't know why that always gets me.
Rhode Island man grabs foot and Pirates. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. Just like the girl is going to jump out of the ride vehicle and is just going to say, what is it? It's actually a foot when you grab it. What is the best original? When I say original, nowhere else, no parks anywhere else. Walt Disney World ride. You can only find in Walt Disney World.
Everest.
Spaceship Earth.
Oh, Lancy, without hesitation, and Johnny. And I like both answers, by the way.
Well, I have to also mention Mission Space, because every kid wants to be an astronaut. That's as close as we're all going to get to it. There's so many buttons. So like ADD takes over, and I hit all the buttons.
I don't know about Mission Space.
So, but
Yeah.
that and Everest.
Okay.
So many buttons, though. It's so much fun. Things
All
light
the
up.
buttons.
I know. And let me tell you that one time there was not somebody next to me. I had a lot of responsibility on that ride. I mean, I think it was like
A lot of
engineer.
responsibility.
I was the pilot. Let me tell you, it took a lot of effort not to let that thing just crash into an oblivion on Mars, but I managed. So my training
They should
kicked
make
in.
it. Like if you mess up, they just spin you like double the speed until you just throw up. Imagine that.
That would be. It'd be a pretty serious ride. I'm telling you, it'd be sweating, start beating, trying to just.
I'd be stressed out. Like everyone do their damn job.
All the while, we're like, we paid to come in here. Why do we're paying for this? This is not right.
Yeah.
Do I get a refund if I land safely on Mars?
People are having a hard enough time dealing with it now. I can't.
Oh, I love that ride.
Anyway, Sarah, do you have an answer to that question as well?
I mean, I'm not as like instantaneous with it, but like living with the land, I know a lot of people just bypass it and they think it's super nerdy and boring, but I'm very much here for it. And I love that ride. But I was also thinking too about Maelstrom, and we've talked about that. And I'm a super Epcot girl anyway, but
I can see that.
Yeah.
I think most of us are Epcot people for the most part, huh?
It's because we're amazing beings.
And then again, when you think about it, there's not too many. Is there a lot of original rides there? Yeah, I guess there is.
Test Track.
Yeah, a lot. No, I mean, Epcot in general has like almost all the original rides.
Mhm.
And then a couple of the parks have a few scattered around, I guess.
Yeah.
And Animal Kingdom doesn't really have any. They're all originals, right? Yeah. So
There's no other Animal Kingdom, so.
true. And there's no.
Well, Dinosaur. I mean, that's
See, but you say that. Yeah, exactly. But you say that, and you're right. But they're starting to put clones from Disney parks into Epcot because Ratatouille's there now, and soon there's going to be a clone of Frozen in one of the parks. Or maybe even two of them. I think Paris and Japan or something like that. So the clones are coming. The Attack of the Clones.
I was gonna say that's a different, but still Disney owned property.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite Star Wars movie.
That's what?
That joke, right?
I had to stop there for a second.
Sorry.
Don't worry, the worst
Digest
people are
that.
coming.
That's
Gotta
not
make sure
everybody.
that
That's
was
not
there.
everybody's favorite. It's amazing.
That's good. The best
No.
special effects.
Something about sand just always, turns me off. Don't get me wrong. Ending's awesome. Like the ending battle.
Yoda
One
Man.
real stormtrooper in that whole movie. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I especially like the quirky scene of C-3PO's parts going down the conveyor
Oh.
belt.
It's amazing.
And it look, I admire that the fact that it looked like a sci-fi channel made for TV movie with, special effects on the green screen.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Although,
I'm
you know
gonna.
what?
Well, go ahead.
Part of me says I'd rather watch that than Rise of Skywalker. To be honest with you.
Ooh, I don't know.
I mean, it's down for me. It's down there.
No, I agree, but I don't. I think I might.
9, 2, and 1 are kind of fighting out for those bottom 3 spots, but I at least 1 you have a really good lightsaber scene, and same thing with 2, and we didn't really get that in but you know what, this will take over an hour. My complaints
No,
of that
I'm going to say one thing about that just because we're on it. I love the time period of the prequels now. I don't know what it is, the feel of the time period, but
well I mean, so
the details are messy.
He perfectly encapsulated the feeling, like you say, the feeling of the time, because the Empire, it's light versus dark, and it was a pretty happy time. People had issues with, say, more local governments, but all in all, everyone kind of lived kind of harmoniously and to themselves, to their planets and whatnot. So they perfectly showed that, right? But and then it's this way here when you compare it to when the Empire takes over. It's very dark. It's very dark's the best word for it. The lighting is different. There's not a lot of partying going on because you got stormtroopers everywhere. So they perfectly did that, and I was looking forward to 7, 8, 9. Then they came out.
And then I was done.
There's a reason that the only shirt I have of the new movies is literally Rogue One. I have a Rogue One t-shirt because I walked out of there saying that's a Star Wars movie. That's probably top 3, top 4.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one that had like no expectations. It was just so good.
When I saw the back of, I think, Peter Cushing, I think I'm saying his name right,
Yep.
Yeah, and when I saw the back of his head, I was thinking, that looks like, no, he's been dead since like 93, 94. And he turns around and I'm like, oh God, they did not just do that. I mean, I thought it was cool. And the family's cool with it, so I'm cool with it. I have no right to say anything otherwise in my mind. But it was something. And I thought they went all out. And that looked like and felt like a Star Wars movie. That looked like it could have come out 30 years ago and it perfect. So the other ones, and especially The Last Jedi, we literally do not have time. So I'll stop there.
We'll
Think
sum it
back
up
on
with
a
that.
happy show.
Perfect
Sum it
sound.
up with that. Han Solo wasn't that bad either.
No, underrated.
Underrated.
I think people had a bad taste in their mouth from The Last Jedi. And
Agreed.
so that it carried over to Solo's movie.
If they waited till the following Christmas for that to be released, it would have been fine. They had to get greedy and say, we're going to release one 4 months later. Nope, dumb. It's a nice little Christmas present to myself. I'd go see all the Star Wars movies by myself around Christmas. It was beautiful. But no,
Agreed.
They ruined it. And then they leave you with that ending, and I want another one now. But are they ever going to make one?
I think something's going to happen with that. Like,
I hope that it'd be nice if they did a little series on just put on Disney Plus, like you're doing with the Andor and the Obi-Wan.
I think two things hurt the Solo movie. First of all, The Last Jedi. Second of all is because there was always like these murmurings of a Kenobi movie. I think everybody just, if it was Kenobi or bust. I think at that point, that's the only thing people wanted to see. Now we're going to get to see it, and I cannot wait. I'm super excited for that.
All right, I think we
I know.
need to get off Star Wars.
I'm fine.
Oh,
we just take a detour.
Like the acquisition of Star Wars is what I'm hearing. Is
But I
everybody
mean,
likes
Star Wars is Disney, and I have my three little guys back there, and it's been on my mind a lot lately. So it's just one of those things. And why did we go down the road of
We were
Star
talking
Wars?
about things that we enjoyed.
Because you said Attack of the Clones for some reason. I don't even.
Because they're stuff from Animal Kingdom.
Oh, you were talking about the Attack of the Clones of the clone rides, and that turned into
I got out of control.
so silly.
Everything's fine.
Oh man.
See what you started?
All right. So
I'm going with Tower of Terror. I know it's in other parks, but there's only the version that we have is very specific to us, with the elevator coming out of the shaft and all that good stuff. So I'm counting it as my favorite ride in Walt Disney World as an original, and one my doctor says I shouldn't ride anymore, and I'm not listening.
You can't take that away from you.
Oh God, taking enough. All right, so where are we going with this? I got so sidetracked with the Star Wars conversation.
I don't know, but then my brain went to like the acquisition of Pixar and all the good stuff we got out of Pixar and all the shorts and all the movies. Then we got Toy Story Land, essentially.
Yeah, but they should have never soured relations with Pixar to begin with.
I know.
I'm surprised no one mentioned Rock and Roller Coaster.
We've talked before.
No, not for the ride, for the fact that it wasn't brought up.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
Guy was insulting.
I thought we all kind of liked it.
No, we all kind of like it.
Well,
Kinda.
I mean, it's a great roller coaster. I love it. I just think Everest lasts a little longer. So, and the best thing with Everest is because of Avatar, you can go like a dozen times if you get there first thing in the morning because no one's there. Everyone's at Avatar. So you just get to enjoy it a lot more than Rock and Roller Coaster. Plus, let's face it, Rock and Roller Coaster doesn't have about 300, headbands or hairbands, or whatever you want to call them.
I mean, with Rise of the Resistance now going to a standby queue,
Might.
you would argue that Rock and Roller Coaster could go that way as well. But we'll see.
I think Rock and Roller Coaster is on its way out, like the theme of it.
Yeah. Someone said online the other day that the guitar is completely covered with like tarps and stuff. And I'm like, Pixar didn't happen. So again, no pics were provided. So purely speculation.
Yeah, something's gonna happen there. Well,
Yes,
there's a
sir.
Universal thing going on now too. So
There was pictures.
Of the guitar cover, the giant guitar.
Yeah, I saw a picture.
Just like that
sure.
official announcement
Well-
picture. I saw that. I was like, shut the front door. And I texted you guys, and then I didn't expand it all the way. And I felt like a dope head.
And we do have pictures of Bigfoot. So, I mean, I don't know. People are really good at faking it.
yeah,
That whole Photoshop thing that I'm not too smart about.
Yeah, I have
I'm-
no idea what it
I'm
is.
pretty clever with this with the Photoshop. You can do some.
Okay.
You can do some pretty good stuff. Let me tell you.
I don't know if I can show that.
But he's gonna be obsessed looking for it now.
No,
I hope it's a Photoshop picture.
it's
One that
Oh.
I made, sent out on the internet.
hold on. Let me see. Okay. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go.
This guy's gonna deliver on the promise.
I was like, I hope you're not.
The mailman delivers again.
Here's the.
Mm, okay.
Oh, so they've got scrimming up around it. It
It's
looks
very
like.
bright in this room, but
There
okay.
you go.
See, there's the
Yeah.
guitar. That was
Yeah.
the day before, and then there it is. You can't see it because that's all tarps.
So they have.
I
It's
know.
just that little branding on the edge of the red guitar, though.
Yeah, it's
That
only
they
that
would-
little spot. Unless they're painting it a new color.
Wouldn't it be something if it was like an iridescent color,
They're gonna paint it like an Eddie Van Halen guitar, and it's gonna be
the black and white with the stripes?
So what do we want?
red and white.
We wants
Like,
the redhead.
No, like what do we want it to be? Like what do we want it to be? Like what do we want it to be if that goes away?
It
Does
should,
anybody
just
have-
be, it should just be random. Pick whether it be like they have, 10 different bands and you get a random thing, or make it so it's like the what the heck's the name of that? The one at Universal where you get to pick your own song. Yeah.
What if we just got the building in general and then put a whole different ride system in there? Because the ride's too short.
Yeah. I mean, if you really wanted to, you have the room back there with, you got Lightning McQueen thing. You can take up that space too. I mean, that's not a real, it's nice for kids and everything, but you got that. You definitely could expand that whole area back there. and
Back to
put
the
one-
great movie ride. Bring it back.
Yeah, please.
The greatest thing that's happened in 50 years at Walt. Wait a minute, Lindsay.
Can you imagine? Oh my
The
god,
great movie ride wins for the best thing Walt Disney World had exclusively to itself.
I thought we were only doing current rides.
Oh, were we? Well, all right. Now we're going to switch to not current rides, and I'm going to say the great movie ride.
Great movie ride.
I third it.
That was the worst change that they made. It tied the entire park to get its Hollywood Studios. You can't have a park called Hollywood Studios and have nothing but Star Wars and Toy Story. That's not Hollywood. That's a very limited view of Hollywood. And so much, maybe
At this point, just change the name of the park to Disney Studios.
Why don't we put the great movie ride into the Aerosmith building?
into the what? I'm sorry.
The Aerosmith building. Let's take Aerosmith out and bring back the movie ride.
And you definitely,
Okay.
if it
I don't
would
want to lose a
fit
coaster.
Well, we're going to make it a coaster. We're
with
going to
the
fly
theme,
to the
because you
movies.
got Tower of Terror down there.
It could be a storytelling coaster like the Guardians of the Galaxy is
Yeah.
going to be. Where you stop at different scenes.
You couldn't, and you make it old. You make it old Hollywood, like
See?
nothing new, because then you bring back the
Golden Age, yeah.
you bring back the actors that used to, the live entertainers on the street, that whole old hot, you could kind of keep it before 1990. Keep all the
Citizens
movies.
of Hollywood, baby.
Yeah, Citizens of Hollywood. That's all. Yes.
Even if you did creep it a little bit to like 95, you could have people walking along with the old cell phones, the old Zach Morris phones,
Yeah.
and
Zach
and,
Morris.
and try to get kids to understand what that is, that is this.
Why people do this when they say, "Oh, I was on a phone call," they mime it like this and not like this.
And why when they say hang up, they do that. So I missed that.
Why people even talk on phones anymore and not text?
That's the other thing.
Why are you calling me? Just text me. Be like,
Now
talk.
it's like, so you get a phone call. Who died?
Yeah. It's what you feel like.
You ignore it because just text me. You know I'm not gonna actually talk to you.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's like urgent. That literally happened to me this morning. My cousin Sarah called me and the phone was ringing. Said Sarah, I'm like, this can't be good. Like, never get a call. It was fine, but it was weird.
And then
There was an urgency there for us. I'm like, this can't be good. Grab
Right.
the phone. What's up?
This
What's going
person
on?
never calls.
Yeah.
And then you try contacting your parents. It's like you text them and they can't read it because they don't have their glasses. So you call them and they can't hear you anyway. So at this point, it's just might as well just send them some smoke signals.
And my parents still have the hearing, but my mother has like
And
a
my
really
parents
big, a really big
watch this.
font on the phone. It's like two words per line going down.
Oh.
Not that mine's any better. I mean, mine is a little better, but I do have a little. I did enlarge the font a bit because I am not seeing well these days.
We should all go back to rotary phones. My nana and papa had like 2 9s in their number, so it was just like,
Yeah.
and if you ever messed up one number,
Oh, the worst.
we'll call tomorrow. I don't have the time.
Then they had those phones that like they looked like rotary phones, but each number had a button anyway. You ever seen those?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a style thing. I don't just want the look,
Modern.
man. I want the
Modern
look. I just don't want the mechanics.
Yeah.
What was that?
All right.
Anyway,
It's
all right.
midterm season in our building, so people are freaking out and asking me how to do things. I'm trying to mute, but I'm not fast enough. Oh, geez, Louise.
Stop that. A couple more things before we
Got
finish.
pie,
up here.
sir.
One, that's what I'm thinking when I say it. One, Johnny and Sarah, you watched Enchanted. What did you
Yeah.
think? What did I miss? 'Cause I didn't see it yet.
I think
Here it is, Johnny. Got you.
like Harmonious, these new shows you can't fully capture them on video. They're too big that you have to be there because it's too difficult to. I mean, they showed the lights on Main Street, but I don't know if that's the only time the lights came on because they're focused on the castle. So, and they don't want to pull back and they want you to see what project. It was fine. I wouldn't say it was stupendous. I mean,
Is it better?
I think Happily Ever from video, if I go purely on video, Happily Ever After definitely translates better to me watching it at home than Enchanted did. I don't think the original part of the song is as good as Happily Ever After. And the only other thing was they focused more. They didn't. I know it's not just a new show to commemorate the 50th, which I think people who complain about it that's a complaint because it didn't have Walt, it didn't have Mickey. I think it's a show that's supposed to be the next show that's supposed to last a long time. So, but it didn't focus on enough older movies in general. And they had 2 Moana songs in it. Like you couldn't. Not that the songs are bad for Moana, but it's just you couldn't throw another song in there besides 2 Moana songs. Like, I don't know. I'm still reserving full judgment for when I see it, but I would take Happily Ever After.
I kind of felt a little underwhelmed. I really liked Happily Ever After. It did kind of take a while for me to get there from Wishes, but I enjoyed Happily Ever After. I felt like it was really solid storytelling. I was able to get behind it. I get the song in my head every once in a while when Millennium Celebration's not in there.
Well, you
and
really have it out for you love Millennium Celebration. Huh?
Listen, when I tell you it lives rent free, it's like it made way for Hamilton. Like that's just where it's at.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
It's ranked high.
I lost my train. See. Oh, yeah. I just didn't see the storytelling there. And like he said, like maybe it's just too big of a show to kind of encapsulate in just, a film because it's meant to be this, larger than life show. And
it was definitely cool seeing the lights on Main Street were really cool.
But it wasn't just lights; it was like projections too.
Yeah, it was definitely. They could have done that to Happily Ever. I don't know.
Are we gonna be? So, but here's the thing: like when they replace this show with another show 5 years from now, are we all gonna be sitting here saying,
Yeah.
Enchanted was really special, and
Yeah.
that seems to be what
mean,
happens every time they
Yeah.
switch.
Yeah.
but I mean,
I-
definitely
Definitely,
with
Arthur was really good.
these the shows are. I mean, I don't know. They're. I think they're just. There's too much involved now, where they have this technology where they can involve all kinds of stuff. So it's just tough to translate to video. Just like Harmonious was tough because they were only focused on the circle barge and like maybe one of like the screen barges. I'm sure it looked better when you could see multiple ones. And which one was it? Which one ended
Who were
weird?
there in the
Was
park?
Did Harmonious end weird? Was that the one that ended weird where they just said like thank you at the
they were like,
something thank you? That was
Have a good
Harmonious.
night.
Thank you.
It was weird. It was kind of
Thank you,
and
sir.
with the Enchanted thing too, like the two Bobs were standing on stage dedicating, and I was just awkward with them too.
Yeah.
Why
Just
is
a
that?
couple of bobs.
Let's get angry for a minute. Why is that guy around the parks taking pictures like he's a silly little, like he's all the other pictures with people in the parks?
I have to say, people were posting pictures and they're like, look who I ran into. And most people are like, oh my gosh, look, it's Josh D'Amaro. Hey, look, it's Jeff Valle. Oh, I think that's Bob Chapek. I was like,
One
that's
guy said,
20 something.
I was like that whole speech that Bob Chapek gave the night of Enchanted too. It was so like
"Oh God."
he was thanking.
Genuine.
It was very. You could tell it was scripted, and I was in with who we've had with Craig McFarland was on the show. I was in. He had a little discussion going on in his group, and it was I made like we were making the point of like how this is awkward, and then I had said if Josh D'Amaro was there making this, it would be totally genuine and different because he's the face. He's there. He's always in the parks. And just how he was thanking the speech they're thanking cast members. Thanking like you see Chapek. It's like well, it's not genuine coming from you. It could have been.
Like, oh, is this part of your
just have
schedule?
Josh D'Amaro up there.
Requirements?
Yeah, like Josh D'Amaro should have been up there with them, and he could have done that. Chapek and Iger could have been there, and they dedicated it fine. They're the heads, but it.
When you
It's
think of
cringy.
the
I don't know.
face
It's
of Disney,
cringy
the face
television.
of Disney is not Chapek.
No,
It's cringy because I feel like he knows what everyone feels,
yeah,
and he's just up there talking. The cast members are just like, "Yeah, okay, buddy," like, "Okay, enough." Yeah, we know. Get out.
but I mean, he wasn't even.
Raise some more prices.
I mean, you could tell he was uncomfortable. Like it was just he had to bring Bob Iger up there with him. Bob Iger is just basically just there to be there at this point until he officially retires. But like, he couldn't even. I don't know.
Lame duck days.
It was just weird. It was definitely weird.
Bad CEO.
I haven't gone through as many incarnations of this as you guys have, but I do need to ask. It just seems like with every new show or the old, like the original Disney properties just lose more and more. Even with the last time I was there, you barely see anything pertaining to Cinderella. For example, a Sleeping Beauty, and almost Beauty and the Beast. I mean, I know that the castle's there, but as far as projecting and things on the castle, it just seems like it's very 2000 on heavy. So I don't know if that's something
That's
you-
fair.
Part
That's
of that
fair.
is how the animation translates, because a lot of that's more of the digital, not CGI, but a lot of that digital animation, and that translates a lot easier for projections than those old-fashioned actual artists every single frame, like one of those. I think that might be a lot more difficult to translate into something that's digitally created and then projected onto a three-dimensional object. That could be why. Also, it could be what's just more recent and selling.
Yeah, I mean, they could at least, I would think the original should get something of a shout out.
But when every little girl wants to have her wedding dress, she always wants to be who? Cinderella. Everybody wants a Cinderella dress. Every little girl,
Well-
every boutique, they all want to be Cinderella.
We'll take your word for it.
Yes, you.
The three guys on the panel will just take your word for it.
I think, and I want to go down like a political road, but I do think that the Cinderella story is like rubs certain people the wrong way now too. Where certain people, I've heard these arguments online where it's like, well, we should be more like brave, and Cinderella, she had to. It was teaching people that she had to rely on a man to be happy, and blah 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 blah. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with that. I'm just saying that's what I heard. Clear about that, first of all. And I just wonder if they are trying to stay away from that because of that, or I really don't know.
I know they're about like female empowerment, and what's that like princess? They have like a whole campaign. It's like something princess, like go princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had that last year.
What was
I don't remember, but it was big on like the Disney, the kid,
when it was
the
being discussed,
Disney Junior type thing.
I chimed in with that, what I thought was a decent opinion, and people did not. I never thought of Cinderella that way. I always thought of it as the good stuff happened to the person who was just a kind, good person. Is that not a fair? I don't know. So I didn't. I guess I can see that point. I just personally never thought of it any other way than that.
Yeah, and I think with like you're saying with those old movies, it was more. I mean, like damsel in distress type thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Sleeping Beauty. She needed the prince, the prince fought Maleficent at the end to, and then the whole.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, not to get with, the whole thing, but then there was the whole like. Some people I know I've seen things like when the prince has to kiss Snow White to wake her up, and she didn't ask for the, you know what I mean? She didn't ask for the kiss, and like,
right.
But part of that too is
I don't know.
fairy tales.
I get it.
Modern society.
Yeah.
And where's that?
Because it's just, and then it's like, those were them, and those were the past, and now with, like you said, with the,
Dream big, princess.
Yes, and like that, like you look at the last movies with the princesses, like a Moana, a Brave, a Raya and the Last Dragon. They're very there. I mean, they don't need anybody else at all. They, regardless of
they save themselves.
Partners in anything, like, yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like as long as like the underlying theme or narrative is understood that everybody, all the good people are really good intentioned and all the bad people are really bad intentioned, then we can kind of get past, for the sake of it being old, that, and say, hey, it is what it is. And the good people are trying to do good things, the bad people doing bad things. And I still don't view Cinderella as a weak character. I always kind of viewed her as a strong one.
Right. For enduring her.
Yeah, that's why I don't know.
For not being jaded. And being able to carry on her own life and
still being kind.
At the end of the day, good prevails over evil. And I think that's not necessarily a bad message for.
No. And yeah, the fairy godmother helped out, but let's not forget Cinderella did it herself at first until she got sabotaged again.
I think most people, for a lot of people, there is that one person that, especially if they've had a hard life, that kind of helps them get on the right.
Yeah. Don't give up,
There's so many, how many athletes, talk about how they came from a bad home, but, maybe it was like that one coach that really saved them, or maybe a single parent household and they really saved, whatever it was. It is typically that one person that kind of stepped up and was there for them. So again, I think this does pertain to an extent to everyday life.
Yep. All right, let's close with this. 50 years, hooray. What's anything, I'm going to ask this and you have to think fast, I guess, but anything going forward next 50 years, what's a property, an attraction, and to get the detail, but just something a property you want to see get its own, day in the sun, its own attraction, its own, we'll call it attraction and or show, I guess. So Sarah wants to see the Emperor's New Groove.
Villains. We need more villains.
So how are we going to do Emperor's New Groove? What's going to happen in this attraction, Sarah?
You have a variety. You can make it a water park and have Cuscotopia. You could have
A whole water park. Okay.
whole water park. Give the man his water park. Birthday present to himself. You could have a roller coaster where Kronk pulls the wrong lever and you go through the lab. Maybe that could be our next rock and roller coaster.
That'd be
You
cool.
have So many
Kind
options.
of.
Throw it in Animal Kingdom and have all kind of alpacas and llamas.
Okay.
Saying, there's options.
Johnny wants villains.
Villain, just make a whole.
Anything specific?
I want a whole new part. That's your fifth gate. Villain. That's been that whole rumor. The dark.
JPEG's going to charge $2,000 a day to get parks for that build new park.
Just go. You could mirror Magic Kingdom and just make it Dark Kingdom, and it could be the same layout, and it's just all villains.
Wasn't that like a proposed thing? Sorry,
That was this big rumor thing that they've been, but it would be very. I don't know. I think it would please a lot of people.
Wait, we're in the middle. Oh, Sarah, someone wants to say hi.
Oh, so much.
Anyway,
I'm still saying hi to her anyway.
Steven, what you have any ideas?
Poophead.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh.
I think between the score, just the music, I think would still catch on today. The story, I mean, you could do so many rides. First of all, you could build a replica of the, Notre Dame, but you could, just kind of like, even like it was like a soaring, going through and whisking away and everything. And yeah, so that's where I'm going with.
And how much better would it, why couldn't, I like that, first of all. So why couldn't we not have cloned Ratatouille and went the way of Hunchback of Notre Dame in the France Pavilion?
Let me tell you, you know what they could have done with Ratatouille? Honestly, you know how they have like, the princess boutique thing where you be, okay. They could have,
boutique.
awesome.
I believe that's what it's called.
They could have done like a cooking thing, like to teach kids how to cook some stuff and kind of done it in that, because everybody can cook. So, and this actually came from
Very Gusteau's.
Well, the idea was that, so I've stayed at Shades of Green, right? And on Wednesdays is always like something special that they do. And I think a lot of times it's the kids can make their own pizza, kids can decorate their own cookie, things like that. So you could do something like that where the kids get, everyone can cook and they could have that kind of a experience. And I don't know, I just think it'd be a lot of fun to have kids make their own pizza or something. I know it's not really French food, but they're kids. And let's face it, you take them to an Italian restaurant, Mexican restaurant, Chinese restaurant, they're ordering chicken fingers and fries. So I don't think it really matters.
All right. Ratatouille, cooking with the rat. Let's learn how to cook with some rats.
When they first announced that Ratatouille was going in there, I was super upset that it wasn't Hunchback, just because, I mean, if we're throwing an IP, can we put like a tried and true, like a classic, like a, maybe something from like more our area? And then I realized they probably didn't put the Church of Notre Dame in there because it's like a religious piece, and the Eiffel Tower is a little less. I mean, it's not so religious; it's more political. And
why not just put a clone in? They would have had to think of a new idea. God, they have so much to do, Sarah. How dare you ask them to think of something new when they could just put something they already have in there?
I think children, and as we are quickly approaching Tom Brady's return to Gillette Stadium, let's finish. I am going to finish with my opinion here. And I am going to say, I've said this before, so I'm going to be a little bit redundant, but we need a Walt attraction. Because the further away we get from people that were alive and knew Walt and all that stuff, the further and further this information gets lost. And it needs not to be lost. And so I still say, redo the Carousel of Progress with Walt in it, or just replace the main character with Walt. And let him tell his little story and always be there. And yeah, or just go through Walt's life in a dark ride format, which I just have a really hard time believing they would ever do. But, Roy and Walt, Walt and Roy, both really should get a nod.
I feel like they won't do that because I think everyone's going to hear what Walt and Roy would say, how they view the parks, and everyone's going to go, it's not really matching up right now.
I just think it needs to do that. Yeah, you're right. But I think it just, I don't know.
I think it'd be great. I honestly, I think it'd be perfect.
Just because you should always, you don't want to lose track of your history and all that.
Well, you can almost like the Carousel of Progress style with Walt and Roy, and the whole of how the parks came to be, or you could do it, however special, how newer with newer technologies as you want. But yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yep. All right. I think we're gonna get out of here so I can go watch the Patriots dominate.
No,
Um,
you better.
or get dominated, something like that.
But you're gonna watch an old season?
Yeah, we'll see.
Somebody's
see.
gonna.
I don't watch
dominate.
football.
Shall see.
Full disclaimer, I don't do football.
We'll discuss next week once we see the results. Anything can happen on any given Sunday. Anyway,
Oh, I like golden.
all right, so we're gonna get out of here. Don't know what topic will be next week, but we'll let you know.
Send us an idea, people.
Yeah, and we will be live. So
People.
I've seen people watching tonight, coming in and out, and unfortunately, there's a little delay, so we can't chat like dead on live. But we, as far as vocally, but we can definitely message it in the comment areas and stuff. So feel free. And so we'll be back Thursday with the news. These, if you missed the announcement on Thursday, these are going live, and these will be up. YouTube will be up on the news will be up on Thursday nights, and the podcast will be up on obviously Sunday nights, and then the iTunes version will be available the next day for each one of those. So Friday and Monday. So a little bit of schedule change. We'll probably be putting in special episodes here and there, depending if anything good happens. So keeping I'll be on Twitter with that if that's the case. And Landy, is King of the Ring tonight? No?
I don't think it's tonight.
Oh, I thought my buddy Scott.
Hoping it's not tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Scott was saying something about a countdown on Fox about King of the Ring. I was just curious. But anyway, guys, we'll talk to you next week. We're getting out of here. Go watch the game. Go Patriots. Don't go, on Disney Plus and watch Attack of the Clones or something lame like that.
Watch
Definitely.
Hamilton.
I gotta go watch more.
Hamilton,
I gotta go watch more Seinfeld.
This guy can't get enough of Netflix and Seinfeld.
Oh God, it's all I've been watching since the first.
Yeah, I gotta get on that. Carrie's never seen a single episode of Seinfeld.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I know. And I still married her. Imagine that.
Jeez.
Imagine that.
For better or worse, Tim.
I guess. All right.
All right,
getting
we're
outta
out of here.
We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys.